Hello, once again, I take this opportunity to welcome you to a history and government lesson, Form 2. We are studying the social, economic, and political organization of the African societies. I hope you are having a nice time as we continue to learn and impart knowledge and know more about the African society. So in our previous lesson, we studied or we learned about the political, the social, and the economic organization of the Baganda people. In our previous lessons, that is what we have been discussing, and I'm sure as a faithful learner, you have continued to impart knowledge and you are able to remember what we learned about the Baganda community or the Baganda kingdom, how it arose, how they were organized, how they believed their culture, their activities, both socially, politically, and economic activities. Now, in our today's lesson, we are going to look at, we are going to learn about a different society that is not the Baganda. We are going to be studying, that is number 2. The first one, we looked at the Baganda. We already tackled that. We looked at how they were organized. We already studied that, and we have learned a lot of things, and I'm sure you have continued to learn. Our second community or society that we are going to study are the Shona. We are going to now study about the Shona. So, just like we did with the Baganda, we are going to look at how did or where did they come from, what type of people are they, and then we are going to ask ourselves what are the social, the economic, and political activities. How are they organized as a society? So the first thing we are going to mention is that these are a Bantu speaking community. They are a Bantu speaking community or society or people. They are a Bantu speaking people or community. So as just like the other Bantu people, they are believed to have originated from the Congo River Basin. The Congo River Basin, that is believed to be their original homeland. So as they moved from the Congo Basin, they moved southwards. So they are found in today. They are found in between. They are found between river. They are found between river Limpopo and river Zambezi. So that is where they settled, and that is where you can find the Shona in the world today or in Africa today. So they settled between river Zambezi and river Limpopo. So if we are to trace them today, they'll be found in the today in the countries in the modern day or today. They will be found in Zimbabwe as a country and parts of Mozambique. So that is where you would trace them today. I said as Bantus, or as part of the larger Bantu linguistic speaking people. They are believed to have originated from the Congo River Basin. And from there, they moved southwards towards the southern part of Africa. And they settled in between these two rivers, that is the areas between these rivers, around these rivers, River Limpopo and River Zambezi. And today, if you are to trace them today, if you are to find whom we are talking about, they are the people occupying the nation of Zimbabwe today, and also parts of the country of Mozambique. Now, they have several subgroups. They have several subgroups. They have several subgroups. The subgroups of the Shona. The subgroups. They have several subgroups, which include the Kalanga. We have the Kalanga as one, and then we have the another community or another group known as the Kore. Kore. That is another group. We also have another one that is referred to as the Zulu people. These are, all of them are grouped as the Shona, but they are distinct subgroups on themselves. And then we have another one known as the Manyika. We have another one known as the Manyika. And lastly, we have the Ndau. We have the Ndau. So, just like we would have Bantus, or we would have Western Bantus, right, who are divided or subdivided into different tribal units. The same happened, or the same is the case among the Shona. We have different subgroups. We have one known as the Kalanga. We have the another one known as Kore Kore. We have the Zuru. We have the Manyika and the Dau. Those are the subgroups that we can see among them, or we can associate with the Shona. So immediately they had settled in this place. That was around their settlement. The settlement of this community took place around 1000 AD. That is the time when they had moved from Congo River and made their settlements in these places that we have just mentioned. So as they settled, they were also joined by other immigrants that migrated from the south upwards. And now that is how they formed the Shona community. So while they were settling down, they created three kingdoms. They were one community that created three kingdoms, one after the other. So we are going to briefly have an overview of how they created these kingdoms and how they ruled. So remember, we are talking about we are discussing about the origin and development of the Shona community. Do not lose that. So when you talk of the three kingdoms that they created, the first one was referred to as the Great Zimbabwe Kingdom. So the first one was the Great Zimbabwe Kingdom that was created around 1200 AD. So you can see they took quite some time. They had settled at 1000 AD. So 200 years later, they were able to create these or initiate this kingdom. So they had different leaders who helped them create the Great Zimbabwe Zimbabwe kingdom. Some of these leaders included one who was known as Chikura. This was a very influential person among the Shona who created or who was among the pioneers of creating this kingdom. That was Chikura, and the other one was known as Nyatsimba Mutor. Nyatsimba. He was known as Nyatsimba Mutota. So these are the founding fathers. We could call them the founding fathers of the Shona kingdom. So they initiated the process of organizing the Shona people into a kingdom. And why was it referred to as the Great Zimbabwe Kingdom? It was referred to that because they had the characteristic feature of building their settlements with stone walls. They would make circular houses that were made of stone. Even the cattle pens, they would demarcate their boundaries using the stones. So immediately after the Great Zimbabwe Kingdom, there was another kingdom. After it, there was another kingdom that was referred to as the Mutapa Kingdom. This happened after the decline of the Great Zimbabwe Kingdom. This declined because there was exhaustion of salt. It did not have salt, and also the routes of trade changed and moved towards the north. So after that, the Great Zimbabwe Kingdom kind of declined. So after it came another kingdom that was referred to as the Mutapa Kingdom, which was now known because of its gold. Gold was the biggest source of the strength of the wealth of the Mutapa Kingdom. So immediately after that, we had another one that was known as the Rozwi. We had another one that was known as the Rozwi Kingdom, which happened immediately after the Mutapa Kingdom. The Rozwi Kingdom also took at that place, and it was also because of the gold. It happened at the same place that the kingdom had taken root. So these are just some developments that happened during the uprising of the Shona Kingdom. But my dear Lana, I want you to note that initially they were just the Shona that were creating these kingdoms. But towards the end of the 19th century, or during the 19th century, they interacted with other communities. They interacted with other communities, and as they interacted, there were stronger communities that migrated into the areas where they had taken their refuge, which resulted to them declining, or the kingdom of the Shona going down or declining. So let us look at these communities that came, or what are these other people? Who are these other people that came and made sure that this strong kingdom that had been created? It started as the Great Zimbabwe, then the Mutapa Kingdom, and then the Rozwi Kingdom. How come they finally were defeated? So we're going to look at these communities. So the first one that migrated, the new communities. So I've mentioned that there are new communities that challenged the Shona. One of them was the Dembele. The Dembele. It's Dembele. Dembele came and challenged. It challenged the Shona, or kind of they provided competition for the kingdom. Also, there were the Portuguese. who are interested in the gold. Remember now they had the main factor that was uniting, that had made the strength of the kingdom was the gold. Now the Portuguese also have come in and they are competing and trying to take control of the area, and also the British people. The British came and also resulted or contributed to the decline of the Shona kingdom. But now, before we look at how they declined, I've just made a brief overview of how they settled, how they developed, and finally how they declined. But now, my dear Lana, I want us to discuss briefly the factors that led to the growth of the Shona kingdom, and we have already mentioned some of them, so we are just going to list them down so that my dear Lana, you are able to differentiate and able to discuss them. The first one that we have already mentioned is the able leadership. The Shona had very strong and organized leaders. We have mentioned the a man known as Chikura, and also the Nyatsimba Mutota. So these leaders did a lot of work in bringing the people together and laying down structures that ensured that the kingdom was or continued to expand, and it had a good leadership. So that was the first factor that really contributed to the development of the Shona kingdom. The other one was farming. When you check in your maps where you'll find River Limpopo and River Zimbabwe, or the modern day Zimbabwe and Mozambique, you'll find that it is a highland area. They have very good climate. And now the rivers, the River Limpopo and Zambezi, provided constant supply of water. Remember, these are permanent rivers. They provided constant supply of water. So with farming, they were able to provide enough food. And when people are well fed, the population increases. So this increases the chances of survival of that community. So farming was another factor that really encouraged or that contributed to the development of the Shona kingdom. The other one was the army. They had a very strong standing army. So it was not just an army. It was a well-organized, very formidable force. And it was always ready. When you talk of standing, it was ready to go into war at any time. So the army protected the Shona kingdom and also expanded her boundaries. So with a very strong army combined with very good leadership, the Shona were expanded and became a very strong kingdom. The other factor was mineral deposits. The strongest kingdom at that time, now the Shona kingdom, they had deposits of gold, as I have mentioned, and also copper. So these provided them with wealth. With wealth, they were able to acquire anything that they needed. With wealth that they got from gold and copper, they would sell that to their neighbors that do not have and exchange it with that or with things that they were unable to get. And with that, they were able to get arms. So that is another factor. They were able to access arms. So with the gold and the wealth they have gotten, they were able to get guns. They were able to trade at the coast. Remember, they are almost at the coast of the Indian Ocean. So they were able to exchange the gold and the copper that they had gotten to get arms, which they used to conquer neighboring communities and also defend themselves from any kind of attack. So with these arms and minerals, how are they exchanging? It was through trade. So that is another factor that really contributed to the development and the growth of the Shona kingdom. So trading, the Shona were part of the long distance trade, and we keep on mentioning this long distance trade, which was very essential. It brought a lot of wealth. It provided them with capital. The arms that we are talking about were acquired during the long distance trade. So these people, the Shona, developed their kingdom from the proceeds they got from the trade. Any person who was trading or passing through their territory had to pay some taxes or some tributes to the king at that time. That gave them a significant advantage over the other communities. So that is just an introduction or just an overview of how the Shona developed, or how the Shona kingdom became to be a strong people and a strong kingdom. So as we end our lesson today, are you able to answer these questions? So look at these questions and attempt them in your notebooks. Attempt them in your notebooks. So we have a revision. We have a revision question. What are the factors that contributed to the development of the Shona kingdom? So those are the two questions that I want you to be able to attempt them and answer. And I'm sure you are in a very good position to answer that question. With that, we have come to our today's lesson. Our today's lesson has been from 2, history and government, and I'm sure you have been able to learn and you have been engaged in our today's lesson. Until the next time we shall meet at this place, bye bye.